This is the Magic Drawing Pad, XPPEN's first Android tablet. The brand is known for making some pretty decent drawing tablets for computer, but does their standalone tablet hold up? Let's take a look. Hey, Ryan here. So I've been looking forward to drawing tablet companies exploring standalone devices. The versatility that they offer is great, allowing you to draw from anywhere. But devices like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S or the Apple iPad, while they do offer a fantastic drawing experience, they're not specifically targeted towards us artists. But perhaps drawing tablet companies with time and experience specifically iterating products for artists, perhaps they would be able to bring something new and interesting to the table. So I was quite excited when I saw XPPEN announce the Magic Drawing Pad at the end of 2023, early 24. Just prior to that, they released this research white paper together with Kantar, looking at trends in the industry and specifically around mobile tablets. There was talk there about meeting the needs of professional artists, about a professional drawing experience, which got my hopes up. But at the same time, there was mention of a younger market, newer people coming into digital drawing, who perhaps don't have the same needs as more professional artists. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect here. Having used it for a little while and taking my sweet time in doing this review, there are some things that I really like about it, but others that leave me a bit disappointed. Before we get into it, I just want to point out that XPPEN did not send me this tablet for review. They didn't ask for this video. I purchased the tablet for myself about a year ago for the purposes of review and because I am a traveling artist and devices like this are of particular interest. With that out of the way, let's get into the box contents real quick. Inside the box, you get the tablet, of course, the X3 Pro pencil, a case for the tablets, a drawing glove that has some extra padding along the side, a few spare pen nibs, plastic and felt, and a USB-C cable for charging. Looking at the tablet, it's a good 28 by 19 centimeters and only 7 millimeters thick. It weighs 600 grams, the back is a nice matte plastic, there's a bump in one corner for the 13 megapixel camera, volume and power buttons along one side. On another, we've got the SD card slot for some extra storage, a USB-C port 2.0, and then a connector pin for compatible drawing case that is a separate purchase. Flipping it over, we've got a 12.2-inch 2160 by 1440 display. It's a good size and resolution for a mobile tablet, but what I really like is this etched glass surface, and this is actually my favorite thing about the tablet. It diffuses light really well, so you're not going to get those sharp reflections. To show you, here I'm moving a light back and forth over a Magic Drawing Pad, the Wacom 113 Touch, and the Galaxy Tab S9 FE. You can see how much more that light diffuses in comparison to just straight glass on the Galaxy Tab. It does give you a little extra texture on the surface too, which is quite nice to draw on. The other thing about this anti-glare etched glass is that it's meant to reduce blue light exposure and strain on your eyes. I haven't specifically picked up on this, but it is something that the next paper tech of TCL is supposed to do, which is great considering the number of hours you're likely to spend staring at this while you draw. The display looks pretty good. If I compare the Magic Drawing Pad with the iPad Pro and the Galaxy Tab S9 FE, the colors do look good. Not quite the same, not as sharp, but that's also expected with the etched glass. An important thing here as well is to adjust the active color settings, which by default have an increased contrast. So you're not going to be seeing quite true colors. And if you move this over to another device, or when you post it, it might look quite different. You can adjust these in the Next Vision section and disable any enhancements. When it comes to the case, this is really only corner protection and a pen holder. There's no cover for the screen when you travel and no folding elements to stand it up while you draw. I definitely recommend getting a stand if you intend to draw at the desk a lot with this. The pen has a simple straight shape about the same size as the S Pen. It also has a single button along the side which can be programmed to different functions in some apps. It's a basic pen as much as you might expect here. I've already gone and switched in a felt nib. Inside it's got XPPEN's X3 Pro pen tech, so you're getting the 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity and a low initial activation force. Also for reference, the model I'm using here is the 9494G running Android 12 and XPPEN software version, what is this? FLE8 12-01. It looks like there may be a new version out on the Chinese market with some slight differences, including a different pen, tilt support, and Android 14. Now, to test the pen out, right off the bat, there is some misalignment between the tip of the pen and the cursor. This can be adjusted by going into your system settings. There's an advanced settings section, and handwriting offset is where you can make adjustments. Mine has shifted over quite a bit. Some apps like Clip Studio Paint also have cursor alignment settings in them, and I recommend spending a bit of time tweaking this to get it just right for the way that you hold the pen. It's good that you can tweak this, but personally I feel like it should not be such a noticeable issue right out of the box. Drawing in Clip Studio Paint here, the basic pressure response is really good. Going from light to heavy and back to light, the pressure responds as I've expected to. It's very smooth, and it handles those changes in pressure very well. With light strokes, that low initial activation force is definitely noticeable. If I hold the pen at the back and just lightly drag it over the screen, it's already registering a mark. Trying to keep consistent pressure, I get a consistent line weight, so that's good. Doing slow diagonals, I don't notice any sort of mechanical wobble to the lines. There is some wobble because of my hand, so doing this with the ruler, we can see that it's giving a really nice clean line. So there is no tilt recognition here. And in response to another YouTuber who had inquired about it, they said this was because of some software limitation. I'm assuming the system software, but here's the thing. The TCL NextPaper 12 Pro, which this is just a rebrand of, that tablet supported tilt with the pen that came with it. So I assume the issue lies with XPPEN software. It seems a little silly to have not figured this out before release, because there are other tablets in the same price range that do offer this feature, and you are specifically targeting artists who are going to use it. Anyway, what about other pens? Here I have the X3 Pro stylus that came with the Deco Pro, and you may have seen in other reviews, or even my own written review, that this works well with the Magic Drawing Pad. And it did, but then XPPEN released an update to their system software, and now it's unusable. You'll see that these lines don't start at the point where my pen touches down, and as I apply more pressure, I get these blotches. It's pretty unfortunate because I preferred to use this pen. It's a bit more comfortable in the hand for longer drawing sessions. The other thing to note about it was that you didn't get the functionality of the second pen button or the eraser, even before the update. What about the X3 roller? This works on the Deco Pro and has the same X3 tech inside, but it doesn't work at all on here. The Wacom Pro Pen 2 used to work on here too, not as well as the X3 Pro stylus, but now it pretty much doesn't work at all. But these are additional things. Back to the pen that actually came with this. Sketching feels good. I'm making quite light strokes here, and yeah, I like it. The screen feels really good to draw on thanks to this etched glass. It's not too textured, it's a very soft, fine kind of grain. Seeing as I was doing stupid pigeons in my last video using the Magic Drawing Pad as a drawing tablet with my computer, I figured I'd continue with that theme and maybe come up with a t-shirt design or sticker around it, and do the whole thing on here, ready for sale. Adding some color here with a larger brush, depending on the type and the size of the brush, I do notice some lagginess. I'm on a large canvas here though, so that's worth noting, and it's kind of expected. Another thing to note, with this being stuck on Android 12, Clip Studio Paint has announced that from sometime this year, any new features that are released aren't going to come to this version. They'll require newer versions of the Android operating system, something you might want to keep in mind. Before I get carried away using the free version of Clip Studio Paint here, and I cannot save this, I'm going to switch over to my favorite Android drawing app, Infinite Painter. Sketching was good here too, doing the line work was good, but getting into the coloring of things, adding a few more layers, I did notice a decline in performance here, and the app did crash on me a couple of times while working. Infinite Painter does seem to be a bit more demanding though, but I also had Chrome crash on me a few times while drawing in Magma. So let me try another app. In Sketchbook, here things seem to hold up fine. And Clip Studio Paint seemed pretty good as well. So that's what leads me to think that it's just Infinite Painter demanding more system resources. In Sketchbook here, the app doesn't have a reference window, so instead I'm using the Ref Canvas app off to the side. And with this screen size, it still gives you enough room to work with this kind of split screen mode. The tablet did come with Medibang and Ibis Paint pre-installed, but I'm not particularly wild about those and didn't spend any time drawing in them. When it comes to battery life, XPPEN claims that the Magic Drawing Pad will get you 13 hours of use with your screen at 30% brightness, while using indoors. Outdoors, when you bump up the brightness, this is going to drop quite a bit. When I tested at 100% brightness, I was down to about 70% after 2 hours of drawing, which I think is still pretty good. What about some additional accessories for this? I mentioned that a stand would be a good thing to consider. Then with apps like Clip Studio Paint or Magma, I really like to have my keyboard shortcuts available. Typically, I might use this on Android, but the ACK05 remote from XPPEN can also be paired. To use it though, you need to reach out to XPPEN directly for the firmware upgrade tool, which is mildly annoying that it's not just up on the website for you to download, but they're pretty quick to respond. Once you update and you install the app for the remote, you can start customizing. It's a pretty basic app, nothing fancy here. Unlike on computer where the dial can have multiple functions, here it can only have one. Then there's the added versatility of being able to use this tablet as an extended display or even a drawing tablet together with your computer. The tablet came with Space Desk installed for that, but I prefer to use Easy Canvas. Super Display is another popular option. The nice thing with this is that I can start out some ideas on here wherever I am, right? And then when I get back to my desk, I can connect this and take advantage of the stronger hardware of my laptop when it's time to get serious. I covered using the tablet like this in more detail in my last video, so maybe you want to check that out. Okay, so to wrap things up, I will say that I really like the drawing experience of this. That etched glass display and the size of it is really nice to work on. I would say it's a good on-the-go digital sketchbook, and it performs well for that purpose. But also, I did manage to complete this design and upload it without too much frustration, just that perhaps my choice of app to do this in was not the best one. And while I like drawing on this, and I did what I set out to do, I can't help but still feel a little bit disappointed. I had hoped that for a company that has been iterating products specifically for artists for a number of years, that we might see something a bit more interesting and a bit stronger, to be honest. It just doesn't feel as snappy as the Galaxy Tab S9 FE, and it's certainly not going to replace my iPad Pro as a complete studio that can do it all. Of course, it would be kind of unreasonable to expect that at this price point. Overall though, I think it's a very reasonable tablet if you're starting out or you're looking for something for some very casual drawing. But if you are considering it, I would maybe wait just a little bit longer to see if we get this other model out in the global market, because that potentially changes things, especially if it retails around the same price. That's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you like this Pigeon Warrior I've been doing, then check out the sticker and t-shirt on my store found below this video. I'm going to get back to drawing. Ciao for now.